All right, so reviewing square roots. Square root of 36 is going to be 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. So we just write a 6. Square root of 9 is 3, but then we have to add the negative. So that one's negative 3. Here we can't do the square root of a negative number, so that's just going to be not possible. So the number that you square root has to be positive, because you can't get two numbers that multiply to a negative. If you have the square root of an exponential expression and it's even, if that exponent is even, you just take the exponent and divide it in half, so you get x to the third. If we have to simplify the square root of 75, you want to write out the perfect squares like this in order. That's 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5. You want to find the largest number up here, the largest perfect square that is a factor of 75, and that is 25. So 25 times 3 is 75. And then when we simplify it, square root of 25 times the square root of 3, the square root of 25 is 5, times the square root of 3 is just the square root of 3. So we write it like that. Now, if you have an odd exponent, that's where you have to take that exponent and rewrite it as a product. So reduce the exponent by 1, so that's x to the 6, times x. Writing x to the 6 times x is x to the 7th. Then write them as individual square roots, like that. And then the square root of x to the 6th is x to the 3rd, and the square root of x. All right, so here we have a fraction, and if you notice, all three, 36, x to the 4th, and y squared, are all perfect squares. So they're all going to come outside as 6, x squared, and y, okay? Because we know the square root of 36 is 6, the square root of x to the 4th is x squared, the square root of y squared is y. Now for this one, we have to simplify this. So again, what is the largest perfect square that goes into 72 as a factor? There's our list, and it's going to be 36 times 2. So we're going to rewrite 72 as 36 times 2. X to the 5th is odd, so we're going to make that x to the 4th times x. I'm going to put multiplying there, multiplying. And then y to the 14th is already even, so we're going to leave that alone. So we rewrote 72 as 36 times 2. X to the 5th is x to the 4th times x. Y to the 14th is just y to the 14th. Then we're going to write them as individual square roots. So square root of 36 times the square root of 2 times the square root of x to the 4th times the square root of x times the square root of y to the 14th. So square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 2 does not simplify, so we leave it alone. Square root of x to the 4th is x squared. Square root of y to the 14th is y to the 7th. And then we have the square root of 2x. So if you look at this here, 36 was 6. Square root of x to the 4th was x squared. Square root of y to the 14th was y to the 7th. And then the 2 and the x stayed inside the square root. So if we have one like this, 144 is actually already a perfect square. That's 12 times 12. So that's just 144. X to the 5th is x to the 4th times x. That's odd. So we reduce it by 1, multiply it by a factor of x. And then we have the square root of 144 times the square root of x to the 4th times the square root of x. So that's going to be 12 x squared times the square root of x.